Max team has completed their RPG-style version of Wonder Boy in Monster World. Many Brazilians probably know this game from its Mega Drive version called Mônica na Terra dos Monstros, where only the characters and part of the plot were changed. They used a well-known tool, RPG Maker. However, they changed a number of things, making it possible, for example, to customize the character's abilities. It seems to offer many hours of gameplay, with a stronger focus on the development of minigames and puzzles than simply leveling up and winning. I came across a really cool little game for the computer called Monster World RPG. It's made with RPG Maker and it's entirely based on the Wonder Boy universe for the Mega Drive and Master System. Some fans of Wonder Boy decided to make a game that captured the essence of the originals, and the result is really good. Basically a game with the same quality as Mega Drive or Super Nintendo titles, believe it or not. Those who played and loved Wonder Boy in Monster World and Wonder Boy the Dragon's Trap back in the day will enjoy this even more. It's packed with references and appearances from characters from the earlier games. The soundtrack is very well done, with several remixed themes from the original games and even music from other systems. The game is quite varied, with many mini-quests and objectives, including action stages and puzzles. The main storyline is simple but very cool, incorporating a lot from the original games. The graphics are very well done for an RPG Maker base game, with large sprites, well-built and varied backgrounds, totally inspired by the saga. On top of that, the action is fluid and fast. And just like the music, in several places you'll see portraits of Sega characters and even from other companies. Do you remember Wonder Boy, known abroad under the name Monster World? It was back in 1986 when Sega released the first episode of this timeless saga, and even though many decades have passed, it's still in the hearts of thousands, maybe millions, of players around the world. Monster World RPG is dedicated to them, to those die-hard fans of this legendary series. But let's get straight to the point. Monster World greets players with a distinctly retro feel. Complete with catchy tunes, you'll find yourself humming for hours, and a deliberately simple yet striking graphic style, featuring round, colorful designs, very much in line with what we've always seen in the official episodes. The great effort by Max team to make each map and landscape unique and enjoyable is definitely the strongest aspect of the technical side. You'll find yourself exploring inspired maps that spark curiosity and encourage players to explore them all, down to the very last pixel. Gameplay can be classified as a traditional Japanese RPG. However, its underlying simplicity and the well-crafted variety make this title enjoyable even for those who aren't particularly fond of role-playing games. Now all that's left is to download the full game. While I do play a lot of fan-made games paying homage to classics of the 8 and 16-bit eras, Max Team's Monster World RPG project is one of the better I've seen to date. Initially released as a simple RPG Maker passion project back in 2005, the game has since been reworked into a much more polished game worthy of being put onto a Sega Genesis cartridge. The dedication to replicating the specific look of the Monster World games while turning it into a turn-based RPG with an active time battle system out of the Final Fantasy games is on point, and the nostalgic vibe works perfectly. The two hard-working guys behind this free RPG, Massimo and Fernando, met up about a year after Massimo completed the first version of the game and needed help in expanding the game further. The older version of the game wasn't bad at all and in fact, had a number of excellent things going for it. Yes, it was a wee bit heavy on the RTP usage, but those familiar sprites and other visual elements helped make the game feel like a proper Monster World side story. The new game looks a lot bigger in scope and definitely more visually impressive, matching the look of the Monster World games even more. Sure, it will seem weird to some diehards who might have wanted a fan-made sequel with the exact same gameplay as previous entries in the series. But I think it's great when someone manages to make a game like Monster World work just as well as a top-shelf Jrpg. Monster World RPG just may be the big and free ticket Sega fans are looking for when it comes to fan-made Jrpg experiences. So much work and love has gone into this project that the game truly looks as if it's a never-released Genesis game. I was really excited to play this game. This was a great entry into the Monster World series and is without a doubt something that veterans cannot miss out on and newcomers will find enjoyable. After over 30 hours of play, I found it to be an incredibly charming and fun experience. The game implements Metroidvania-style gameplay and uses several of the series staples as core elements very well. Some of the most beloved RPG and gaming tropes also tend to sneak their way into the game as well. Be sure to pick up this gem. You won't regret it. I seriously can't believe I missed out on this when it was launched, as we have only just found out there has been a release of the Monster World RPG. A large fan game developed using RPG Maker 2003 and inspired by the 1980s Monster World Wonder Boy series. This latest Wonder Boy goes away from the platforming style, however, and goes all-out RPG, which for some might be a good thing or a bad thing. Funnily enough, I used to love playing that fantastic platformer Wonder Boy, designed by Ryuichi Nishizawa. Although it started its life as a skateboard rock-jumping and axe-bashing platformer, it did later become the adventure platformer with RPG elements Wonder Boy in Monster Land that many of us know and love to this day. This game, however, isn't just a game made with RPG Maker, but has had years of development and includes many features. For the series' fantastic amateur games and where to find them, I'd like to point out a completely free project developed by one of the dear patients of our clinic, Monster World RPG. After about 10 years of development, this Wonder Boy spin-off in RPG style is brimming with pure passion for the game world and the characters born from Adventure Island. It's a miraculous work just for having made it out of that bottomless limbo of the countless RPG Maker projects started and never finished. All thanks to the perseverance and skill of Mac's team. What can I say? Access is free for everyone, so grab it and play it. A few weeks ago, actually, I think it's been almost a month now, I played Idealsoft, an indie game that leaves no doubt about its inspiration from Wonder Boy. Around that time, a friend of mine mentioned there was a fan game of the series made in RPG Maker 2003 by an Italian and a Brazilian duo, Monster World RPG. So, naturally curious, I picked up this so-called Monster World RPG to play. Calling it a fan game isn't even a good enough description, because Monster World RPG is a fan game. The developers seem more like historians than fans, because they used everything, literally everything, from the Wonder Boy franchise. Monsters, areas, dungeons, music, characters, including discarded prototypes from the original games, and more. If it ever existed in Wonder Boy, it exists in Monster World RPG in some form. And there's more. The developers went a step further, pulling in references from outside the official games. Characters from other fan games, from Turma da Monica games published by Tectoy, and even titles inspired by Wonder Boy. Both the protagonists of Idealsoft and A Lenda do Herói make appearances in Monster World RPG. And those are only the references I recognized. I'm sure dozens of others slipped past me. As you can see, this is a massive fan game. Not just in its cast, the game itself is huge and goes beyond the scope of most RPG Maker projects. The majority of games from this community, when finished, usually have between 100 to 200 maps. Some have far fewer. Monster World RPG, on the other hand, has, let me check, 1,645 maps. The game is divided into 4 chapters, with the second and fourth being especially long, which add up to around 24 hours of gameplay. That's a conservative estimate, assuming you're aiming for 100% completion. From the name alone, you can probably guess what the gameplay of Monster World RPG is like. And if you know RPG Maker 2003, you know the battle system. Overall, I had a blast with Monster World RPG. I especially loved the final chapter, which takes place in the region from Monster World 4, my favorite entry in the franchise, and which also takes more creative liberties by building lore around the iconic Biomika, the villain from the last 2 Mega Drive games in the series. The developers filled the game with side quests, secrets, puzzles, and, finally, minigames. In the latter case, minigames appear in specific sections where Monster World RPG steps away from the RPG in its title and temporarily switches up the gameplay. For years, I've thought about how some games, especially RPGs, need to step outside their mold and incorporate other mechanics to mitigate the effects of repetitive gameplay. Monster World RPG's overall structure follows very recognizable patterns. For example, Chapter 2 has you traveling to a region, entering a dungeon, fighting a dragon to get a key, using that key to open a second dungeon, then fighting the villain to rescue a kidnapped character. Every character has a running gag. The protagonist, Max, constantly falls for a female character, only to later discover she already has a boyfriend. One of his companions, Sharbo, only cares about money and always tries to profit from new missions. Hotter almost always ends conversations talking about food. And then there's Junior, a baby dragon who takes everything literally. He was the one who made me laugh the most. Each region introduces a warrior who grants you a special ability to progress and find new items. The dungeons each have unique themes and challenges. The number of puzzles is especially praiseworthy, making the game feel even more like Wonder Boy. There are plenty of side quests, some of which last until the final chapter. And new mechanics keep popping up: genes, gears, spells, a unique fighting style for one character, and more. Monster World RPG constantly tries to add something new via side quests, mechanics, and especially minigames. At certain points, Max has to dodge obstacles with vehicles like a skateboard, minecart, or flying carpet. In one dungeon, the game switches to a 2D perspective where you must outrun a boulder in a simple platforming sequence. At one point, it recreates Alex Kidd's classic rock paper scissors. There's even a shoot 'em up section with little ships at the end of Chapter 3. These moments, when the game breaks from its pattern, are when it shines. And that's a necessity for any title, whether a fan game or a AAA release. This kind of break from the mold is at least interesting to see, like making your character snowboard down a mountain. 2 guys on 2 different continents made a fan game that wasn't meant for sale, yet they still put in that effort, so take a chance on your creativity too.
Here's a tribute to one of my favorite games of all, Monster World RPG. This game was one of the best I've ever played. It was a very good experience. From start to finish, every moment was fantastic. It gave me a lot of feelings, happiness for the heroes and sympathy for Dranken. Every moment was happy, funny, intense, sad, and awesome. I would also love to thank the 2 gentlemen who are responsible for creating the game, Fernando and Massimo. And I learned a lot from both playing the game and making art. Thank you, Max team, my true friends, for being my inspirational support. Thank you so very much, Max team. Obrigado to Fernando. Molti grazie to Massimo. And my thanks to you all from the bottom of my heart.